Yeah, I think longevity for me, I mean, I always oversimplify it and go, I would like to get up and down off the floor independently and quickly. This is my hope. If you saw me walking across the parking lot, you wouldn't know, is she in her 80s, is she in her 50s or her 30s? And I think, you know, people get so obsessed with youth orientation and all of these things, which I understand because we live especially in such a visual world. I understand it. I've manipulated that world quite a bit myself. It's this idea of keeping the spirit of curiosity and excitement to wake up each day. I don't care if I live to 100. You know, you hear these guys who are gonna, you know, put their consciousness into a chip. That doesn't really interest me. What interests me is going full bore until I move to the next place and having those relationships and enjoying my life. And because some of that I have to do through my body, right? So it's just keeping the vessel in good shape so that I can be dynamic and have the energy to be like, hey, do you want to fly here? Do you want to go there? Do you want to do this? Do you want to try this? And so longevity for me is that, and just being willing to be a beginner at certain things. I am not as graceful about that as Laird is. I am reluctant. I like to do what I'm good at and stay in my grind out lanes. But I also know I feel a lot happier when I'm open and exposed and vulnerable, and I don't lock everything down. So for me, longevity is just keeping that kind of softness and pliability and openness, and then yes, having the physical means to be able to move in and out of these spaces. I find it harder when I get impacted by the outside world narrative about where I'm supposed to be at this time in my life. One of my favorite things that people will say to me is, wow, you still look really fit for your age. I'm like, huh, that's a weird thing to say to somebody. Is when I just experience things, it's easiest for me when I experience it from my inside out view, because the sky is still very blue and beautiful to me. And so it's easier when I am taking care of all those pillars. I'm getting rest, I'm breathing, I'm moving, I am finding time to recover. It's very important, because we think the value is in suffering and just training, and I understand, I relate to that so much, but there's so much value in that, participating in recovery, and then eating the right things, fueling and connecting it's easiest when I'm taking care of that. Let's be clear, there is no such thing as balance. It was presented to me one time more as a flywheel. If all of these things are supporting all of these things, that's sort of the best you could hope for. It's not a list of buckets that I go, oh, I have even chips and all. I don't think that's possible. Just that things are moving each other forward. So my relationships are inspiring me that I have energy and I'm moving, and my exercise life is making me grab foods that help me more, and I'm breathing in a way that I am recovering and such. So I want to encourage people that happiness and balance, maybe that's not the goal, right? It's just having everything, always feeding everything. And I think that's true of longevity as well.